Go over to Psalms 103. Let's let the Bible edify us here. In Psalms 103, let me have a reader at the 20th verse.
Bless the Lord, ye his angels, that excel in strength, that do his commandments, hearkening unto the voice of his word.
So this is what angels do. Angels do God's commandments. They whatever God's commandments are, that's what they fulfill. They hearken unto the voice of God, and they perform his request on the earth. That's what the Bible is telling us. They do his pleasures. Continue reading.
Bless ye the Lord, all ye his hosts, ye minister of his that do his pleasure. Bless the Lord, all his works in all places of his dominion. Bless the Lord, O my soul.
So what the psalmist is doing is reminding us that no matter what we go through, we must bless the Lord. We must be reminded to bless the Lord. Because remember, the enemy's intent, if God's angels are intended to assist God's people, then the enemy's intent is to make God's people forget about God. And the easiest way to do that is to inundate them with so many anti-God things to make it appear to be so uncool to be around God that people forget about God. And just like somebody forgetting how to do add 1 + 1, well, they forget because if they don't spend a lot of time doing it, then they'll forget how to add. And so what we have to recognize, that's what the ploy of the enemy is to have the world filled with so many different things. It causes God's people to forget. And what God does to ensure that this doesn't happen, God sends his angels, like Jacob saw, ascending and descending. They descend from heaven and they manifest themselves in human form. Let's see some examples of that as we get ready to close here. In Genesis 19, let's quickly go there. Genesis 19, let's start reading at the first verse. Genesis 19:1.
There came two angels to Sodom and Eben, and Lot sat at the gate of Sodom. And Lot, seeing them, rose up to meet them, and he bowed himself with face toward the ground.
So here, the Bible declares unto us, remember in Job identified two environments: an earthly environment where things were happening and a heavenly environment. Here, you see a heavenly being in an earthly environment. The Bible constantly introduces angels in this manner. Sodom is like a big city. It's a populous city. It's a location in the earth. And the Bible is declaring unto us that two angels have descended from heaven to this place known as Sodom. Continue reading.
And he said, Behold, now, my Lord, turn in, I pray you, into my servant's house, and I tarry all night. And wash your feet, and ye shall rise up early, and go on your ways. And they said, Nay, but we will abide in the streets of all life.
The Bible declares unto us that Lot is trying to encourage the two angels to come with him. And they're saying, no, we're just going to hang out in the street here. Thank you for the offer. Lot is trying to get him off the street for a reason. Why do you think Lot is trying to get him off the street, Bible scholars?
People won't see them. Why can't they hurt them? Because they're angels.
Recognize this. If you travel to a big city, and let's say you travel to the hood, and it's almost dark. And you are a visitor in this big city, and you are in the hood, and you want to hang out outside. What do you think advice people who know about the area what do you think advice they're gonna give you?
Get inside.
To get inside.
But these are angels, though.
I understand that. But what do you think Lot is trying to do? He's trying to get them inside because of the sin that's outside. That's why you see the Bible said that he did what in the third verse? Continue reading there.
And he pressed upon them greatly, and they turned in unto him and entered into his house.
So he insisted. He wasn't thinking about the fact that they were who?
The people, everybody else.
What was Lot not thinking about? He wasn't thinking about that they were these powerful angelic beings. He was thinking about them as who?
As regular men.
As normal men. As special men from God. But he wasn't thinking about the fact that they were armed with heavenly power. He wasn't thinking about them in that regard. But he was trying to protect them from what he knew as being a sinful what? Environment. Remember, these are angelic beings that descended from heaven. And now he is seeing them. And he's also doing what? What is Lot doing? He's talking to them. Exactly. He's seeing them and he's talking to them. So they must look like they're what?
Regular men.
Like regular men. Exactly. I'm trying to get you to see these are angels in human form. That angels have the ability to come out of angelic form into human form. They transform themselves from heavenly form to human form to do God's work. So to the people who are around them, to the people who are in this city, when they look at these two men just look like any other ordinary men. They don't look like they are angels. Continue reading.
And he made them a feast, and did bake unleavened bread, and they did eat.
So here it is. They're eating food. They're heavenly beings, but they're eating food. So by all accounts, by looking at them naturally, they look like regular men. Continue.
But before they lay down, the men of the city, even the men of Sodom, compassed the house round, both old and young, all the people from every quarter.
So now, these people knew that they were visitors, didn't they? And the sin is so great in the city that these people were coming to get these visitors. That's how bold they were with their sin, with their way of living. Continue, please.
And they called unto Lot, and said unto him, Where are the men which came in to thee this night? Bring them out unto us, that we may know them. And Lot went out at the door unto them, and shut the door after him, and said, I pray you, brothers, do not so wickedly.
Okay, so Lot, you think Lot had some idea of what they wanted with these two men?
Yes.
Yeah.
So Lot is trying to intervene because he knows how these people think, because he's living there and he's seen how they live. And they obviously know Lot lives a different way from the way that they live. But they also know that two people came into the city and they would rather those two people live the way that they're living instead of living the way that who lives? Lot lives.
Yeah.
So they're doing everything. They're so forward with the way that they live, and they don't believe there's anything wrong with it, that they are coming to get these people. And he's telling them, don't do this wickedness. He's calling it wickedness, which means that he believes that they have what kind of intentions?
Evil intentions.
Evil intentions. So I'm trying to get you to see how angels, even walking in human form, can be seen by a person in sin as just another person. We know what happened, but let's continue. Let's reading here a little bit further before we move on.
Behold, now I have two daughters which have not known man. Let me, I pray you, bring them out unto you, and do ye to them as is good in your eyes. Only unto these men do nothing.
So now look at what he offered. Now, this is a serious offering, isn't it?
Yes.
I'm trying to get you to see how Lot is trying to mitigate this thing. This is a serious offering. He's offering his daughters instead so that they would not look to do wickedness to these two men. Now, remember, Lot is not thinking about the fact that these two angels have what kind of power?
Heavenly power.
Heavenly power. That they could really handle this matter themselves. Continue.
For therefore came they under the shadow of my roof. And they said, stand back. And they said again, this one fellow came in to sojourn, and he will need be a judge. Now, will we deal worse with thee than with them? And they pressed sore upon the man, even Lot, and came near to break the door.
So they were serious about trying to get at these two men. Continue.
But the men put forth their hand and pulled Lot into the house to them and shut to the door.
So they pulled him in and they shut the door. Now look at what happened.
And they smote the men that were at the door of the house with blindness, both small and great, so that they wearied themselves to find the door.
Okay, so now, look how quickly, you know how quickly God does things, right? Look how quickly these angels took care of this matter. Blinded everybody that was standing at the door, trying to get in. Took their sight away. They exhibited the power that they were given of God. Remember, they came down to earth not just to hang out with Lot, but they came down to earth because who sent them? God sent them. So you think God sent them just to go over to Lot's house and kick it?
No.
So he sent them for a purpose, to accomplish God's will. That's why they were sent. And so now, look at what the verse 12 tells us.
And the man said unto Lot, hast thou there any besides son-in-law, and thy sons, and thy daughters, and whatsoever thou hast in the city? Bring them out of this place. For we will destroy this place, because the cry of them is waxing great before the face of the Lord, and the Lord has sent us to destroy it. So
look at what he said. Look at what he's basically told them. He told them, he finally told Lot and his family, they were told what their purpose was, why they were sent by God. See, God knew what was going wrong in this place called Sodom. So God sent these two angels to do what? To destroy it. So why do you think the two angels wanted to stay outside where the people were? What do you think that they were going to do? They were going to destroy it. Because why did God send them? God didn't send them to come down there and break bread with Lot. He didn't send them to come back and kick back with Lot and just talk about what happened that week. They had a mission. They had a purpose. So they were transformed into human form with heavenly power, and they were going to begin using that heavenly power. And I believe that if these people had approached these two before Lot got to them, that they would have suffered a whole lot more. What you're seeing is angels doing God's commandments, doing God's will, hearkening unto God's voice and performing what God has requested them to come down and perform. That's what you're seeing here. You know the story, what happened. Sodom and Gomorrah got destroyed. We know what happened. These two angels did what God sent them to do. Lot followed the advice of the angels. Okay. Let's go over to Genesis 32 quickly. Let's grab a couple of others here before we finish up. Genesis 32. I want you to see angels intervening. We talked about miracles happening, right? And these are normally interventions in human affairs. Well, with the destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah, that was also an intervention into human affairs. God was sick of the sin. And so this is considered a God level event. What we just learned about with Lot and Sodom is a God level event. God level events occur when God is tired of the sin. He sends angels to intervene. In Genesis 32, verse 1, let me have someone read.
And Jacob went on his way, and the angels of God met him.
Now, who met Jacob?
Angels of God.
The angels of God, the Bible declares, met him. The angels of God met him as he went on his way. That's pretty special. Continue reading at the second verse.
And when Jacob saw them, he said, "This is God's host." And he called the name of that place Hanan.
Okay. The Bible said Jacob was just going on his way. Like during the course of your day, you may just be driving down the street, or you just may be walking into a building, or you just may be walking in the yard, or you may be walking in a store, or you may be walking in an office. You may be going to get your hair done, whatever, going to the grocery store. You may be going on your normal way. Jacob was going on his normal way. And guess who sent a couple of angels on an assignment from heaven to him? Who did it? God did it. Here again, God having angels descend from heaven with instructions, and they were sent to Jacob. So Jacob was going about his natural way, just like we go about our day every day. What I'm trying to get you to see, Jacob is no different than you and I. When we go about our way every day, we must know that God will send angels on assignment to help us, to assist us, to make paths clear for us. You remember in Psalms 23, isn't that one of the requests? The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He restores my soul. He leadeth me beside the still waters for his name's sake. And yea, though I walk, although my path during the course of my day has me walking in the valley of the shadow of death. I'm not dead, but I'm in a place that's close to dead. Sodom was like the shadow of death. People weren't dead, but they were close to being dead because they were in wickedness and sin and unrighteousness. But we're in a world of wickedness and sin and unrighteousness. We are in the shadow of death. And so, like them, what the Bible is telling us, God sends his angels to us to assist us in walking through the shadow of death in this world that's contrary to God. That's why he said, yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. The Bible said in Proverbs, trust in the Lord with all thine heart and lean not to thy own understanding, but in all of thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy path. It is the angels who help clear the path for us.
Oh, praise be to God, from whom all blessings flow. It is our prayer at Clay Family Ministries that your life has been increased with the increase of God through this study. We appreciate and are thankful for your fellowship during this life skills study segment.